Hey guys, in this video, I will give an overview of the lighting I used in this scene. After that, I'll delete the light's environment map and recreate it from scratch to show the process. I've disabled all the existing lights, but I'm going to go ahead and start the interactive frame buffer just to make sure there's no lights contributing to the scene before I get started. I'll be using a gradient ramp as the scene environment. I'm wrapping the gradient ramp inside of a Corona color correction node just in case I want to quickly adjust the strength or maybe even tint the gradient, something, along those lines later on. I'll configure the gradient as a black and white setup, and I'm just double clicking on the gradient itself to add points and then assign colors to those selected points. I need to switch the orientation of the gradient. To do this, I'll just adjust the W angle setting to rotate it 90 degrees. I like to enhance the gradient effect and boost the power just to give it a higher dynamic range. I do this by enabling the color map option and adjusting the curve points. I need to adjust this curve point to a Bezier curve. To do so, I'll just right click on the curve point and select Bezier corner. Before I make the adjustments, I'm going to change the viewing angle. That's just going to make it easier for me to see the changes that I make. I'll also change the paint from bright silver to black. That will also make it easier to see any adjustments that I make to the gradient. I'll add contrast to the gradient by adjusting this curve point. Now I need to adjust the placement of the gradient reflection on the car. I could adjust the gradient points, however, it can also be adjusted by increasing the V offset to shift it up in world space. The gradient's looking okay for this angle, but I think I'll move around just to see what it looks like at other angles. Now that I have the gradient set up, I'll go ahead and bring back the silver base on the paint. This looks okay, so I think I'll go ahead and begin adding the light sources to the scene now. Since I'm using Corona render here, I'll be adding Corona lights to the scene. I prefer to use disc shapes for the lights. I'll also be using the directionality function of the Corona lights just to focus the light sources themselves. It doesn't matter where you place the lights right now. I'll move them into place using the highlight placement tool in a second. Disabling the gradient environment may make it easier to place the lights. Now I'll use the place highlights feature to position the lights. To do this, select the light source, then click the place highlight button. Hold the left mouse button down and drag over the model. The light will follow along as you move your mouse. The light will also move in the correct world space to be seen properly at your selected viewing angle. When you're happy with the placement, release the left mouse button. Adjust the light intensity and directionality settings to dial in the look that you're wanting. Disable the visible directly option to hide the light source from the camera. If you have multiple lights close to each other, you may want to disable the occlude other lights options. Do not disable the visible and reflections option though. If you do, it will not generate specular highlights in your metallic paints. It's cool how adjusting the directionality of the lights can create emphasis on parts or change the mood of a shot. I think this will work for me. Now I'll repeat the process by adding more lights. If you copy or paste or clone the lights, I'd recommend cloning as a copy instead of an instance because you'll definitely want to adjust the strength and directionality of each light independently. I'm going to continue adding lights this way until I'm happy with the result. There's no need in sitting through that, so I'll speed through this process. With my lights placed and focused, I will enable the gradient environment again, and that should be it. Outside of adjusting exposure or other tone mapping settings to dial in a certain look, of course. Might as well check it out from another angle, I guess. Most of the time, when I change the camera angle, I'll also have to change some of the light placement or highlight settings. This one looks okay though, apart from needing something to reflect on the side glass. However, since this is just for fun, I'm not going to worry about that. Before closing, let me mention the ground reflection plane. For that, I'm using a Corona Shadow Catcher material. I have a couple of fall off maps and a mix map to help drive the amount, color, and overall glossiness of the reflections. I'll quickly run through and make some adjustments to these fall off maps just to show what they're doing. That completes the overview of this scene. Let me know if there's an aspect of the process that you'd like more information on. Thanks.